Be sure to follow Wager Detective on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
Hello, folks. This is Wager Detective. We're going to get into this cap between the Mets and the Braves for August 10th, 2026. The Mets are coming in at a plus 126, and the Braves are minus 148. Let's get into this cap if we shall. If we look at the Mets' last 7 games, they're doing pretty good, hitting 269, 20 for 57 with runners in scoring position. That's a 351 average. They're hitting 269, man. Pretty good last 7. 53 left on base. The bottom line is they're hitting the ball in situational hitting, and the Mets are starting to heat up as the season goes along. Now, when we look at this Mets team, they got a lot of talent on this team. A lot of big names: Bo Bichette, Carson Bench, Marcus Semien, Juan Soto, Ewing, Francisco Lindor. So they have a lot of talent, and you see Bench leading the team in batting average. Home runs are led by Juan Soto and Bichette with the RBIs. Now let's take a look at some of the Mets splits. In away games this year, they're 26 and 33. They're scoring about 4 runs a game, 8 hits a game, hitting a little over a home run a game, but they're only batting .235 with a 300 on-base percentage and a .390 slug. So they're going to want to pick up those stats, but scoring almost 4 runs a game on the road. When we look at the Mets in night games this year, 28 and 41, they're still scoring 4 runs a game, 7, little short than 8 hits a game, and hitting 1.26 home runs a game, so a little bit better. The average is still down 229 average with a 382 slug and a 677 OPS in 69 night games this year. Now let's take a look at the Mets against right-handed pitching. They're only scoring about 3 runs a game, only 6 hits per game average, and averaging a 231 batting average against right-handed pitching with a 379 slug. Not looking good. So the Mets limited in run and hit production against right-handed pitching this year overall on the season, only scoring about 3 runs a game. So they're going to have to pick that up here against the Braves. Now let's see what the Mets have done over July and August. They're 15 and 17 since July, scoring 4.5 runs a game, averaging 8 hits a game, and hitting 1.41 home runs per game with a 244 average. So they've picked it up over July and August, and not bad. New York has produced solid offensive numbers over the last 2 months, so can they keep it going here against the Braves? Now let's take a look at who the Mets will be facing in Bryce Elder. Bryce Elder this year, 8-6 record, 3.69 ERA. He's given up about 8 hits a game, 1.35 home runs per 9, only walking 3 per 9, but he's got a 1.20 whip. The home runs look like they can be a concern. Minimal traffic, but he's looking pretty good. Let's take a look at what Bryce Elder has done in home games this year. He's got a 13-game start, 81 innings pitched. He's got a 3 ERA at home. He's only given up about 7 hits a game, a home run per 9, and he's striking at about 6 batters per 9 with a 1.10 whip. So he's looking pretty good. Batters only hitting 220 against him at home this year, so looking pretty good for Bryce Elder. All right, let's take a look at what Bryce Elder has done in night games this year. 15 games pitched, 15 games start, 88 innings pitched, 3.27 ERA, giving up 7 hits a game with 1.23 home runs per 9, walking about a little more than 2 batters a game with a 1.09 whip, so looking good in night games for Bryce Elder. Now let's see what Elder has done against right-handed and left-handed pitching as we continue the splits. Against left-handed batting, hitters from left-handed hitters are only hitting 200 against them. Right-handed batters are hitting 280 against him. When you look at home runs, ironically, left-handed batters have hit 11 home runs, but right-handed batters have hit 8 home runs. So a mixed bag there, but left-handed batters are definitely hitting worse against him. He's got 30 more strikeouts against left-handed batters than he does right-handed batters. So he pitches better against left-handed batters, Bryce Elder does. When we break that down, he's tougher on left-handed batters. Left-handed batters only hitting 198. Right-handed batters hitting 280. OPS 624 from left-handers, 767 from right-handers. So tougher on left-handed batters, Bryce Elder is. Which means guys like Ewing, Bench, Carson Bench, Lindor, Soto are going to struggle, could possibly struggle in a spot like this. We know Lindor is better from the left side of the plate, so he's going to have to go to the other side. So it's going to affect Soto. It's going to affect Bench, Lindor, with Elder being good against left-handed hitting. Now let's take a look at the Braves over the last 7 games. Last 7 games, Braves 58 for 235, hitting 247, 260 with runners in scoring position. They're hitting 247 overall, but they're hitting better with runners in scoring position over their last 7 games. And they've got solid contact with a slight uptick in situational hitting for the Braves over their last 7 games. The Braves come home after losing 2-3 in New York against the Yankees, averaging about 3 runs a game there, but lost 2 out of 3, but won the series finale in New York yesterday. Now let's take a look at this Braves team. Very, very solid team. You got Matt Olson, Ozzie Albies, Michael Harris Jr., Austin Riley, Drake Baldwin. They got an extensive lineup of guys that are just absolute studs in that lineup, and the Braves are definitely nasty. Don't forget about them. They're going to make a playoff push. So the Braves, again, hitting 240 over their last 7, but hitting 267 with runners in scoring position over their last 7 games. Looking pretty good. So let's take a look at the Braves splits at home games this year. 39-20. They're averaging 5.12 runs per game, 8 hits per game, and they're hitting 1.39 home runs per game with a 440 slug and a 764 OPS. Absolutely fantastic for the Braves. Very, very dominant home team they are when they're at home for the Braves. When we look at the Braves in home games this year, in night games this year, the Braves are 51-31 in night games this year, averaging 5 runs a game, 8 hits a game, 1.4 home runs a game, with a 254 batting average and a 747 OPS. Now against right-handed and left-handed pitching, the Braves 243 against left-handed pitching, 254 against right-handed pitching, and 243 against left-handed pitching. So they got a better slug against right-handed pitching, which they'll see in Tanner Scott. So 106 home runs against right-handed pitching this year. The Braves strike out way more against right-handed pitching, 607 strikeouts to 333 against left-handed pitching. So fairly different against right-handed and left-handed pitching. They strike out more against right-handed pitchers, but they got 106 home runs against right-handers to only 52 home runs against left-handers. And they've walked more against right-handed pitching against left-handed pitching, but they definitely strike out more against right-handed pitchers. So to break it down, again, Atlanta has been better against right-handed pitching. Braves are hitting 254 versus right-handed pitching compared to 243 versus left-handed pitching. That's a plus 11 points average and plus 34 points on the OPS. All right, so the Braves, 21-13 since July. They're averaging 5 runs a game, almost 9 hits a game, averaging 1.62 home runs a game with a 263 average since July. The Braves are hitting. They're stepping up in these hotter months as they usually do. The Braves are poised to make a playoff run here. So again, we look at the Braves' last 7 games, 13 for 50 with runners in scoring position, hitting 260 over their last 7. And then we look at them since July, 21-13, 181 runs scored, 5 runs a game, and a 263 average, 795 OPS, which tells me the Braves are heating up. They're playing better. They're doing what they got to do, and they're looking good heading into September. And the Braves are going to see Christian Scott, 6'4", 27-year-old, having a pretty good year, 3.15 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. Let's take a look at Christian Scott. On the year, 3-3, 3.15 ERA, giving up 7 hits per 9, almost a home run per 9. He's striking out 11 batters per 9 with a 1.26 WHIP. The 1.26 WHIP is a little high, but he's got the swing and miss stuff to kind of get out of trouble if he needs to, so not a problem there. Tanner Scott, last 5 starts, he's got 25 and a third innings pitched with a 2.49 ERA, giving up about 7 hits a game, 2.48 walks per 9, striking out 11 batters per 9 with a 1.11 WHIP, and his team is 3-2 in his last 5 starts for Scott. Now, when we look at Scott on the road, 9-game start, he's got 43 and a third innings pitched with a 3.12 ERA, giving up about 6.6 hits per 9, with 54 Ks and a 1.15 WHIP. The walks are concerning, but he seems to get out of trouble with the strikeouts. Now, when we look at what Scott does in night games, 46 and a third, 2.91 ERA, giving up 7 hits a game, 3.88 walks per 9 with a 1.21 whip. Opponents only hitting 209 against him in night games. In this split, again, the walks are concerning, but his strikeouts per 9 get him out of jams. Now versus left-handed and right-handed batters. Left-handed batters hitting 223 against them. Right-handed batters hitting 216. I think the thing that stands out here against right-handed batters, on-base percentage 350 against left-handed batters 292. That's a big difference there. So he's striking out more left-handed batters than he is right-handed batters. Left-handed batters striking out 59 batters to 33 batters from the right-hand side. Now, when we look at bullpens for both these teams, the Braves got the sixth best bullpen in Major League Baseball. The Mets have the 8th. I think it's fairly equal there. But I think the Braves have a little bit better bullpen. I like Iglesias a little bit better. But Devin Williams has been doing okay for the Mets. Folks, if I'm going to look at this game, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe that the Mets are playing a little bit better baseball. They've been hitting a lot better situationally, runners in scoring position. And I think Christian Scott is a good baseball pitcher here. I think Bryce Elder is good too, but I think the Mets are playing a little bit better baseball. I'm going to call the Mets to win this game plus 126, and I do think this game goes under. Both bullpens, both pitchers will keep it tight, but I think the Mets will get it done some way, somehow in this game to win this game. This is Wager Detective. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. And remember, Wager Detective loves all his fans, and I'll talk to you soon. Let's go Mets. That's my call here, and over 8.5. I'll talk to you soon.
Be sure to follow Wager Detective on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.